Now, as well as the humanitarian cost of the war in Ukraine, there's also an economic cost, of course. The World Bank estimates that the physical damage to Ukraine's buildings and infrastructure from Russia's invasion has reached around $60 billion already and will continue to rise. But the head of the World Bank pointed out that estimate does not include the growing economic cost to Ukraine of the war. Joining me now live from Kyiv, the capital, is Sergiy Tsivkach. He's Executive Director of Ukraine Invest. Sergey, good to see you again, my friend. How are you doing?
Thank you. We're doing well. We are fighting against Russian aggression, and we already think about economic recovery as well and rebuilding Ukraine.
Now, what did you make of those World Bank estimates? I was speaking to your finance minister, Sergiy Tsivkach, last week, and he said he thought the ultimate reconstruction cost would be getting on for $500 billion.
Yes. So that's the figure we have. According to Prime Minister of Ukraine, the figure is over $560 billion US. An immediate effect, negative effect on infrastructure of Ukraine, critical infrastructure, is about $120 billion US. According to World Bank, this figure is about $60 billion. But this is an initial assessment, just at this very moment. So I'm sure that the figure is higher than that.
You mentioned that your thoughts are already turning to post-war reconstruction. What should the priorities be in terms of the infrastructure that needs repairing most quickly?
Critical infrastructure, roads, bridges, military infrastructure as well, then healthcare, engineering and communications. As you may be aware, we have seen that over 22,000 kilometers of Ukrainian roads were damaged, 546 educational institutions, about 200 healthcare institutions, and just thousands of residential buildings. In Kharkiv alone, more than 1,000, and in other cities. So the cost is significant.
Do you think, if anything, there is obviously, we know that the Russians have been leaving landmines in areas where they've withdrawn. Potentially the cleanup costs there are going to be horrendous as well.
Yes. So the total cost, the immediate cost and the following cost that Ukraine incurred so far, it's about $1 trillion. And the figure is still rising. This war needs to be stopped ASAP because it's not any longer about Ukrainian effect, negative effect on Ukraine. It's about region and global economy. According to IMF, the global economic growth will decline from 6.1% to 3.6%. And inflation will rise in developed countries to 5.7% and in developing countries to almost 8.7%.
Obviously, before the war, Ukraine's economy was very heavily geared towards agricultural commodities, towards metal production and so on. Do you see the composition of the economy changing significantly post-war?
Absolutely. This is what we need to do. We need to build Ukraine 2.0. We need to bring new innovations. We need to have more value-added manufacturing in Ukraine. We need to have new technologies, and we need to make sure that Ukraine will become reliable part of a regional and global supply chain.
And in terms of getting businesses back, we gather something like 10% of Ukrainian businesses have located overseas since the invasion. How rapidly can you see them returning?
We can see them returning. More than 145 manufacturing facilities were hit directly by Russian military forces. We have seen relocation not only so much to outside of Ukraine, but within Ukraine to Western regions. More than 1,000 companies filed requests for relocation. About 400 companies are relocating, and about 200 companies are fully operating now in the Western regions.
Sergey, we have to leave it there, I'm afraid. It's good to see you again, and please do stay safe.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.